Hey friends, it is CranderQ, aka my real name, and you are watching the Redzone Roundup presented by Mayhem Media. Today, as you saw, we are talking the Detroit Lions with our good friend Mike D from Wrestling from the 313. It's been a while since I've said that, Mike D. Also, Mayhem Media wants to know what your favorite team is so you can have your own episode. We are trying to fulfill all 32 teams. Unfortunately, we are not taking Browns or Bengal fans because, well, CranderQ is a Raven fan, and we ain't got time for that. I'm just kidding. How you doing today, Mike D?
Man, I'm chilling, man. You know what? If I'd have thought about it, I'd have put a Lions hat on. But I got a Pistons, but
It's all good.
today,
You're representing Detroit with your podcast, with the hat, and then just your aura of Detroit. Let's get a brief background here of you and what you do over there at Wrestling for the 313. From the 313. Oh my goodness, I'm out of touch.
basically just a wrestling podcast. We talk to people in the wrestling community about wrestling topics that's going on in the industry, and I have people from the wrestling community, like independent wrestlers,
Mhm.
independent promoters. They come on the show to they talk about what they got going on, and just trying to hold it down for Detroit when it comes to wrestling.
Definitely, definitely. And Detroit, folks, if you are going to make some jokes here about the football team, the city of Detroit has won multiple championships in other sports. The Lions are trying to get to that beautiful place. We just saw last year, Mike, they had a hell of a run. They got cheated by the 49ers. I don't care what anybody says. That's my view. I wanted Baltimore and Detroit in that Super Bowl. Like we talked off before, I don't care who won. I was just excited to see both teams get there because, well, there are teams. But we're going to jump into it here. Let's talk about some of your favorite players growing up.
Oh yeah, these are some of my favorite players growing up as a Lions fan. First, we're going to start off with the old school, and that's Barry Sanders and Herman Moore, and we got Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson kind of representing the newer era of Detroit Lions football. Go in. Oh, my bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
Oh, okay.
I just hit the button too fast.
Just really about Barry and Herman Moore. Barry was a legend in
Right.
in our city. Like, he was the guy that put Lions football on the map. He's kind of like our Isaiah Thomas, like what
Okay.
he meant to the Pistons back in the day, and kind of like what Steve Yzerman meant to the Red Wings.
Mm-hmm.
He was that guy for the Lions. Herman Moore, he was to me, he was like the Jerry Rice of our team.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't as good as Jerry Rice. That's my favorite player of NFL player, but Herman Moore was good. He at that time was one of the top receivers in the league.
Yep.
And he was our receiver before Calvin got there, and before Calvin got there, we had Stafford.
Yep.
Matthew Stafford, to me, is the best Lions quarterback, or one of the best Lions quarterbacks of all time. I got him in the top 3. Just what Stafford did for our team, like, even though our team wasn't good, he was good enough to keep our team in a lot of games, even though we lost majority of them. Stafford just had that heart, and that's the same thing with Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson probably was, some people might say, the next thing to like Jerry Rice,
True that, yeah.
Randy Moss. Unfortunately, injuries like shortened his career. A lot of people like to say, I think it was a mixture with him and Barry. I think it was just the team losing, and just hurting, just those hits and stuff taking the toll on their bodies, and they just like they retired. But even though our team made the playoffs here and there with Barry and Herman Moore, and they made it a few times with Stafford and Calvin Johnson, they love our city, man. They love our team, man. Our city love the Lions, and those four guys would definitely go down as Detroit Lions legends.
Yeah, and you mentioned having that heart for Detroit. They embodied that city, that grind, that passion, that hard work. A lot of what ifs with Barry and Kelvin Johnson there. Had they been able to be on a better team or had those longer careers, no doubt. We're talking GOAT status without even finishing their careers, which you can't say about half the guys in the league today. And these guys did those things, and half the time, a lot of them did. Yes, we give Frank Gore credit for being like the number 2 or 3 all-time rusher. Brady being the all-time, passer. Well, he well deserves it, but I mean, it's taken him 20 years to get there. It's taken Frank Gore 15 to 16 years to get there. We're Barry, man, just blowing everybody out in 9 to 10 years. Calvin Johnson doing the same thing. And, I jokingly always give you crap that, like, I liked John Kitna. That's one of my guys that I always used on Madden because he had some – in those games, like, the accuracy, the higher they were, they threw more interceptions. So if the accuracy was lower, you could have a better chance. So I always took him, and he always got it done for me no matter what I would do. Detroit embodies receivers. Anytime I think of Detroit football, I think of the receivers. Yes, Barry was one of the greats, but you had Roy Williams, Charles Williams, Mike Williams, Fury, and I think it was McDonald, those guys coming in and just being able to catch everything Stanford and, those guys throwing them, and it just sucks that Detroit has had that luck because they've had talent. And their former tight end, now their head coach, Dan Campbell, has revitalized that offense with Goff and a Brown. And, man, I was scared they stumbled out of the gate, but they're coming all cylinders now. So I hope they make a run for it in the NFC. They definitely deserve it. And I would like to see Goff get one because Stafford got it with the Rams, and it would be cool to see Goff get it with the Lions because he's embodying that hard work and, they're getting through the shit to get to the, the Super Bowl. So,
yeah. And we got the team. Our general manager did some good drafting.
Yep.
When he made this, the trading Stafford for Goff and getting all those picks back, he did really well with those picks. Like guys like, Jamo Williams, Laporta, Gibbs. Those guys would have originally got drafted by the Rams.
And they got that defensive end, right, too? That Hutchinson? No, is that the tight end? I get him backwards.
No, he's the defensive end.
Yeah, from Michigan himself, too. Yep. So
yeah, and to me, I think that if he stays on our team for a long time, he's our JJ Watt.
Yeah,
that's how I think. He's our JJ Watt. He's going to be the guy on defense that will probably eventually end up being the captain and probably just be that anchor on our defense as well.
And I'll put this on the internet. I remember when, Lamar was going through his contract talks. He's like, I want to go to Detroit. I want to go here. And I was like, let him go to Detroit. I don't care. Let him go to Detroit. Then he'll suffer. And had he went to Detroit, folks, I think Lamar would have revamped that even more with that run game those last couple seasons. And I was like, well, I got to eat some crow because Lamar would have made that team a little bit better. But, again, Goff is doing great. I like to see that he's, revised his career because it was kind of cool to see him go against Tom Brady. Unfortunately, he did not win that Super Bowl. I was really hoping they would have to keep, Tom Brady getting all those mega rings. But let's transition into what are some of your favorite iconic moments there in the Steel City of Detroit? Not Steel City, I'm sorry. The favorite moments of the Detroit Lions there for you. Oh my God, I'm tired.
One I could think of, when Stafford, I think this was the first couple years of his career. It might have even been his rookie year. It was a game against the Cleveland Browns when he dislocated his shoulder.
Okay.
And they were about to take him out. They were trying to take him out the game, but he was like, no, I want to stay. I want to finish this game. I want to win this game. And he led a game-winning drive that helped the Lions win the game. And I think that game right there kind of showed where, the heart of Matthew Stafford and
Yeah.
stuff, like, because he's another guy that took a lot of hard hits when he played here with Detroit. Another memory, well, I got a couple. I got this one and I got one more. I definitely want to say when Barry broke the rushing record. I think it was when he got 2,000 yards or something like that in the season. I remember watching that game. That's all everyone was talking about was Barry gonna get that 2,000, and he ended up getting it. And so I remember that game. Barry Sanders getting 2,000 yards in the season, and my last one has got to be the season from last year. Just overall, just winning the division, going to the playoffs. All our fans wanted was a division and one playoff game. One playoff win. They ended up getting 2 playoff wins. So I think last year, not even last season, the season before that was just really the start of the Lions' rise, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they put Detroit back on the map for being a sports town, especially in football, and now with them winning, they have the ability to attract more stars finally. Everybody wants to go to New England back in the day. Everybody wants to go to Kansas City now, but that's going to put Detroit back in that conversation of, that's a big market. You know what I mean? So, and then like we've talked, Detroit Red Wings, the Pistons, baseball, the Tigers, great teams in those cities that these stars can start attracting more stars. You know what I mean? Look what LeBron did for Cleveland. You know what I mean? Brought him to the next market for that basketball organization. Now, granted, all the drama, blah, 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 but he brought Cleveland to that next level in basketball for marketability. So we're going to see a lot more. I see him here around the school I work in. A lot of people wearing the Brown jersey. For Detroit, there's been 1 or 2 golf jerseys popping up here and there more. So it's going to be exciting to see what they can do in a year or two. Get some young guys in there that are ready to. Okay, I did my 3-4 years here. Now I want to go get that money and get to that franchise that's going to get me to that level. I think Detroit's going to be one of the top NFC teams the next couple of years. So here's the next segue question. What are your predictions for the next couple games or this season for your Lions?
You know what? They started off slow, and the reason why I think they started off slow because their starters didn't play in the preseason. So like after those first 2 games, you kind of started to see them kind of get it together. And I think that, those first couple of games of the season was really they preseason games. So now that they didn't play those first 2 games and, they kind of getting the feel of it, they're starting to play a little better. I think they're gonna make the playoffs. The division, it's kind of hard to say because Minnesota is playing good right now. I think Minnesota is going to be one of those teams that are going to be in the mix for the rest of the season. But I think the playoffs, depending on who they play, is where they're going to get hit. I don't think they're going to be like a first round bye or anything like that. But I think the Pistons will definitely be. Why I say the Pistons?
Because I'm messing you up here tonight.
The Lions are the Lions are going to be in the playoffs. Division, I want to say they can still win the division, but they're gonna have to catch Minnesota.
A lot of season left to do that too. So
and I see conference finals. Who they play.
I want that rematch between San Francisco and Detroit. I'm excited Purdy got there, but now it's time to see a new team in there. I always like to see a new team, and I'd love to see Detroit. I'd even like to see them mix it up with the Bengals. 2 teams that haven't won a Super Bowl going head to head. 2 great quarterbacks. Not that I want someone in my division to win it, but it would be cool to see. Cincinnati, and Detroit battle it out for someone that hasn't won a Super Bowl. So,
Yeah, and then that's state rivals too. So
Yep.
Michigan and Ohio, that.
Yeah. The stories, the veteran quarterback of golf, the up-and-comer, they're both trying to redeem their, Super Bowl losses. I can just see it now. So I'd be excited for that game. So, or Baltimore versus, Tampa Bay would be a fun one for me just because Baker Mayfield, another guy trying to research his career, would be kind of fun to see too, but I'm biased. I kind of like both teams, NFC, AFC. Well, Mike D, we got wrestling from the 313. Make sure everybody gives him a follow on social media. He's killing it on the YouTube game. He's killing it in the merch game. He's killing it everywhere he does. I'm honored to call him a friend. So Mayhem Media. Again, we want to know, folks, what your favorite team is here. Let us know in the comments section of this video when it's released. We try to get you on here for your own episode here. Mike D, before we go, any last things on the Detroit Lions? Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up here, sir.
We got to get this win against Dallas this coming Sunday. That's all I want.
I feel an implosion coming from Dallas with CeeDee Lamb, and gives me old T.O. Romo vibes, unfortunately. I hate to see it, but, I like Dak too. I want him to succeed, but it is what it is. But all righty, sir. Again, this is Mayhem Media with the Redzone Roundup presented here. CranderQ doing all the hosting work because he's the pod god, the man with the #1 beard in wrestling podcast, self-proclaimed title, folks. But it's your boy, CranderQ. CranderQ out.
Peace.